Hello everyone, and welcome to the Homeless Survival Guide with Old Drunkie. Today is episode 0. It's happened. Your wife left you, your roommate ran away with your rent money, your car got towed, what have you. Lost your job, yada yada yada. Something happened. And now, this big, beautiful world is going to be your bed. Well, go ahead and have your pity party, but the sooner you accept it, the sooner you can start preparing, and that's the name of the game. First things first, this is now a survival situation. It's not too much different than going to a desert island or going to live in the middle of the forest. You need to survive, and the 3 things you need to survive are food, water, and shelter. At the very beginning, 3 main things keep the body going. We can go into further things as the survival guide goes on. So, most of you are probably living in a city or a town of some kind, and even the smallest of small towns normally have a food pantry, and pretty much everywhere has a place where you can get clean running water. So easy. 2 of your needs have been met because you're not living in the middle of the forest. Now the biggest thing is, where are you going to set up shelter? You're going to go to a homeless shelter, or are you going to camp? There are pros and cons for both. I'm going to go over the pros and cons for stealth camping, camping in general, first. Because the majority of the series will focus on stealth camping and trying to make it with very little means without having to go to the hospital or a ward, psychiatric home, whatever you want to call it, or a homeless shelter. Pros and cons of camping. Well, the pros are something that a lot of us have looked at and dreamed of since we were kids. The unlimited freedom. We all see shows where someone's nomadic, goes from place to place, sleeps outside, does what he wants. Even if his means are not great, he still gets by. So that's the good thing about if you're just camping, stealth camping. If I have a sleeping bag and it's dark outside, I could just go lay down right there, go to sleep, wake up, and continue walking. Decide where I'm going next. That's one of the biggest pros. You're not getting told what to do. You don't have rent anymore. Don't have car payments. Don't have other people reaching into your pocket. So at the very least, the money you do make, the money you do have, it's yours. I'm currently living on the streets. My monthly bills are $17 YouTube Premium because I use it for audiobooks. Obviously YouTube videos, some movies, especially me because I don't mind watching movies from the 50s or 60s, old horrible kung fu movies, things like that. Works out well for me. And my phone bill, $60, so $80 a month. If I have a job, then that means I could literally work 1 day a month and All my monthly bills are paid. Probably work 2 days a month for wear and tear on my gear. Things that I'll run out of, like maybe bug spray, extra socks. And it's just like that. It can be very freeing, but it is also, with great freedom comes great responsibility. And that's where kind of the cons come in. You're now responsible for figuring out your own food. If you don't work, you don't eat, or at least you don't eat well. You can go to food pantries. They'll normally give you, especially if you say you're homeless, they'll a lot of times give you things that in particular that you can eat without a lot of prep work. I will discuss things like that, like right here. If you're stealth camping, especially in the winter when there's not a lot of bugs, go down this trail, find a little corner. That would be optimal. Go in there at 8 o'clock at night, come out 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on when the sun rises where you are in the winter. And there you go. Got a free place to stay. But yeah, if you're stealth camping and you're not relying on any services, you got to make sure you get to the food pantry. Make sure you got a place to refill your water. Make sure you're not super far from a bathroom, super far from water fountain, super far from a place you can get food, charge your devices. And you do run the risks of leaving your gear somewhere, even if you hide it really well. You run the risk somebody will come along and take it, but same thing goes for being in the shelter. So that being said, we'll move on to pros and cons for the shelter. Pros for the shelter: you got a roof over your head. Most shelters, they'll say designated day, night. If it's a night shelter, and for me that's the most important part, being able to sleep through the night. Yeah, they'll normally give you a lot of the day to be inside, or at least a good bit of it, as well as all night. They normally have food at least once or twice a day, maybe cereal in the morning, maybe a sandwich at lunch, maybe cereal in the morning and some horrible concoction someone who doesn't know how to cook made, and whatever. Could be some random stuff the church donated, but you are now a homeless person. And even if you're not necessarily a beggar, in a lot of people's eyes you're a beggar, and you can't be a chooser. But free food, place to sleep, that's the biggest pro. Second biggest, maybe equal, maybe more important, if you need help, maybe you're disabled, maybe you have an addiction, I haven't really used them. I found them all to be useless. They'll supposedly give you resources for those things. Supposedly they'll help you find jobs. I personally have always found it easier to just do it myself versus having a middleman. Even now, a shelter I went to recently, they showed me a bulletin board that's like, yeah, reach out to these guys, they'll find you a job. And it was like McDonald's and janitor, and I was like, bro, I could just apply. Like, duh, it's not complicated. But maybe for some people it is. And I just didn't take them seriously. And sure enough, I told them the moment I was ready to look for a job, I would get interviews. The moment I did, got interviews, got a job. But I've been in the workforce for 15 years, so maybe it's a little easier for me. Shelters, that's the pros. Food, place to sleep out of the rain. During the day, maybe they'll give you shelter, but the cons are not all shelters are even remotely equal. If I was currently in a big city, I would not even consider going to a shelter because of how many people would be in there. It would almost certainly be an abandoned gymnasium or church. Everyone's sleeping on the floor. There's like 2 stalls in the bathroom and 50 dudes, 100 dudes. It's nightmarish. I stealth camped in Denver for months until I woke up one day and I had to go to a shelter because it was just too cold, too wet. My tarp and bag and setup and all that were just completely drenched. I was completely drenched, cold. Went to the shelter, and within a week of staying there, I got an eye infection for the first time in my life. Never happened before. It hasn't happened since. And my phone got stolen. Never happened before. Hasn't happened since. So I would keep that in mind. There's also the fact that you are under their roof. You abide by their rules. Maybe you don't have necessarily an addiction, but you're in a really bad mood, maybe because of your situation, maybe because of something else. You decide to have a few drinks, or you try to bring a bottle in. They will kick you out, sometimes ban you. Maybe for a few weeks, maybe permanently. It's at their discretion. Also, the way you're treated. It's their job to kind of make you comfortable, make sure you're safe. But a lot of times they just treat you inhumanely. That's my spiel on shelters. I'll go into further detail on that in a future video. My next video coming out will actually be a little bit of a story time video discussing some of my horror stories on the streets. Maybe a shelter story. If not, I have plenty shelter stories that I can tell you about. Oh, but to make sure you're well informed, if you're in a small city, maybe a mid-sized town, you can look for shelters. You might be able to find one where you might be sharing a room with just 3 or 4 dudes, 3 or 4 chicks. May not even be bunk beds. That's not too bad. 4 people in a room you're way less likely to get into an altercation versus 50 or 100 people in a room. Especially with homeless people. There may be people like me who are, hopefully like you, who are trying to get back on their feet, make lives better for themselves, and maybe at the end, before they leave this mortal coil, make lives better for other people. But there are also those who just don't care. And I'm not citing you if that's you. Live your best life. It's your choice. But there are some people who, part of enjoying their life is making other people suffer. Making people, if they're going to get kicked out of the shelter, they immediately just bother somebody else long enough to make them get kicked out with them. Things like that. So, with that being said, make an informed decision. If you do go the stealth camping route, which is what I'm going to talk about probably till the end of this video, you want to check out locations. Obviously, this rock wall, if I was to hop over this, I could probably clear a certain section out. Hopefully it wouldn't have too many thorny bushes. And then that would be perfect to set up a small tent maybe a single person. Beyond this, if I could clear this out, I could actually set up a tent I could sit in. Keep all those things in mind. Drive around, look around, keep your eyes open. Look for electrical outlets, look for faucets, bathrooms, things that can benefit you, things that you'll need. If you're looking for a job, you gotta have your phone working. And you obviously gotta have water, gotta have a bathroom. You can be a bear and shit in the woods, but guess what? You might not be doing anything wrong by sleeping over right there. The moment your pants are down, public indecency, you are now doing something wrong. And the cops can cite you for it. And all of a sudden, your shelter gets destroyed, stuff gets taken, you go to jail, and you're embarrassed because a cop saw you using the bathroom in public. So scout out, look for best possible options. And if you have job opportunities nearby, see if you can find a location near that job so your walk time isn't that bad. Keep in mind, your stealth hours at night are going to be limited to you getting to camp and getting out of camp. Always want to make sure you get in camp when everyone's settled into the night. Get out of camp before everyone starts moving in the morning. Being near parks like this can be helpful. There's going to be restrooms, water fountains. Just have to be careful because there's other people, obviously. But anywhere around here, all of these bushes, maybe back behind that fence, would be pretty decent to camp. And yes, I walked up here to get away from that dude because I'm talking on my phone, recording. And he might think I'm a crazy person. And of course he has to turn left the moment I say that. Oh well. Anyway, that is episode 0. I'll obviously keep going into details on where you want to camp, where you want to set up camp, how you want to set it up. Break down, set up, what to buy, what you'll need. But this is episode 0. If you have time to prepare, do your best and prepare. I'm going to go into my next survival video about what gear you absolutely want to get. No crazy nonsense. I'm not going to sit and say you need a tactical war vest and combat boots and, you know, a $100 hiking backpack. You don't need a bunch of, you just don't, you can get away with a lot less than what I believe some people will tell you need. Obviously, you want to be prepared, but as I will get into during the next video, a lot of that stuff that you may end up having, you're going to realize you got to carry that stuff around or hide it. And that will become a problem. Especially if you are gone during the day, sudden rainstorm happens, and oh no, I forgot to wrap my generator. Come back, your generator's toasted. And those things happen. It's already happened to me, and I've only been homeless here for maybe a week and a half. I've already lost certain things, nothing expensive, things like pillows and stuff like that, some food. But yeah, if you think for any reason you are about to end up on the streets, start scoping out locations to camp. Start looking at shelters near you. Look at reviews for the shelters. There were shelters I looked at in Texas where the comments said they won't let you bring in your own food. The comment said it was set up in an abandoned hotel and they made you pay rent, of all things. There were comments saying they didn't let people bring in their own medication that was prescribed from doctors. So yeah, it can be bad. Just keep that in mind. And whatever you do, remember, you got to keep on surviving. Talk to you guys soon. Old Drunkie out.